everybody. Hola. Hi, this is Paola Guthrie from Creating Purpose with Pao, and I welcome you to the Spanglish World Network and Heart Network on Single TV channels 250 and 251. Please remember to download Single TV app on the respective app stores while you download it. Please make sure that you rate the app and you let us know how we're doing our job. The app is totally free. You can find Single TV on Google Chromecast, on Amazon Fire TV Stick, Roku Stick, and all smart TVs from 2016 and forward. Today, I feel honored to have this beautiful soul in the show, in the house. Her name is Tanya Jones. She is a Tahlequah Public School superintendent. She has been selected as the 2023 OASA District 35 Superintendent of the Year, and I'm so honored to have you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, ma'am. It's my honor to be here. I'm excited to have a conversation with you and lots of other people.
Yeah, so please explain to our beautiful audience what is your role as a superintendent in this district of Tahlequah, Oklahoma?
My role of superintendent at Tahlequah Public Schools, superintendent's pretty much everything. I am the leader of 3,600 students, 506 employees, and I do a little bit of everything. I have a big part in obviously managing a $44 million budget. That's a very large budget, and that takes a lot of time and effort just to make sure that we are taking good care of the dollars that are put in our hands to take care of. Students and teachers are primary focuses. We want to make sure that we're doing what's best for kids every day, whether it's safety, what instructional things that we use, curriculum that we use for them, that our buildings are safe. Big part is taking care of teachers, because if we don't have teachers, and we couldn't have school. And I was a teacher, and I will hope to always have that teacher's heart. But so, taking care of students, taking care of the teachers in the buildings, the financial piece of this, a lot of it is about paperwork, the not fun part, making sure you're just meeting the legal requirements of all the documents that you have to have. Right now, I do a lot of work with our legislators at the state level, advocating for what we need for our school district, facilities and operation, technology, child nutrition, federal and state programs and grants. There are many different things that go underneath my job, and this is a large enough district that I have people that help in most of those areas. But when it comes right down to it, I'm the person that signs everything. So if something goes right, it's attributed to someone else a lot of times. But if it goes wrong, it's definitely going to be attributed to me.
You're doing an amazing job. I mean, this is your first year of
Yes.
leading as a superintendent. So, congratulations, because I see your heart, and I know you're trying to do the best that you can. So I congratulate
Absolutely.
you.
Well, thank you.
So, what inspired you to pursue your career in education? How many years have you been in education?
This is my 27th year as an educator. And I started out, I have a bachelor's degree in early childhood education and elementary education. And so I started out as a kindergarten teacher. That was my first job 27 years ago. And then I started the pre-K program at a local school district and taught that for a few years. I taught second grade for a few years. And then I moved to Tahlequah as an assistant principal at a middle school. Well, it was central. It was really fifth and sixth grade center at the time. Eventually I was there for a couple years, and then I got the principal's job at Cherokee Elementary here in Tahlequah and stayed there for 4 or 5 years. Moved to another local district, Woodall, where I worked for a few years as a principal of a K-8 school. I worked in Muskogee for a year as a K-5 principal, and then came back to Tahlequah and was the principal of Sequoia, which is our pre-K center. After that, I moved into the federal and state programs and grants role here at the district level. And I did that for 5 years. and last year took over all of the elementary buildings, elementary instruction, curriculum, elementary ed, executive director of elementary ed, and then this year got that job as superintendent. Um, I've always wanted to be a teacher. I would have been the little girl that probably lined up dolls to teach or Barbies or whatever I happened to play with at that time. Um, School was pretty easy for me. And so often I was put in the role of helping my peers when I was finished with school, my assignments quicker. And I knew it's what I always wanted to do. But I think what's a little bit unique with me is that I knew I always wanted to do what I'm doing right now. I would have told you when I was really young that I wanted to be the boss of the school. My dad calls me the little general. He said, "You've always been a little general." I am just by nature and probably by life experiences that I went through as a small child, I've just kind of always had to be the caretaker of people. So it just fit naturally to be the leader of a school. That's what I saw myself as doing. So I can't remember the time that I wouldn't have told you that I want to be a superintendent when I grow up. And just turned 49 in the last couple months and finally reached that goal this year.
That's beautiful. So you always knew you wanted to reach, the high stage on the level on the ladder. Like you said, I'm going to become a superintendent.
Yes, ma'am.
That is beautiful. And I want to bring awareness to our beautiful audience that it took you years to
Yes.
work towards your goal. And it's like you did a little bit at a time each year to get better and better at it, at teaching, at leading. And now you are, where you wanted to be years ago.
Right. Absolutely. I've had my superintendent certificate since I was probably 25 or 26 years old. And 22 years later is when I actually got to put it to use. And to get here was a long process. I mean, and this is a field that is very male driven, usually. I mean, it's very male dominated profession to be a superintendent. And I think that took me as a female a little bit longer. And I also think that I needed to grow personally. So while I think I may have wanted the job 10 years ago, I know now that the time that I was supposed to get the job is now. I needed that time to be a principal in different districts and just to grow as an individual and as a human. To grow as a leader, I needed to come to the district level and learn about finance, something that you don't do a lot of work with as a principal. There's very little budgeting done as a principal. So, I mean, I can look back now and see all the different experiences that I had and how important they were to go through those steps to get where I am. And this is the place that I always wanted this to happen. This was my dream job, literally my dream job. And there have been other places that I probably could have moved to in the last few years to get this job, but it just didn't feel right. And I know why it didn't feel right or why things didn't work out, because this is what was supposed to work out.
That's beautiful. Within just a few years ago, I learned that we overestimate what we can do in 1 year. And we're unhappy and we feel the pain because we're not there yet. And we're not, we wake up every morning and say, oh, I'm not there yet. But how beautiful it is whenever we see that we can, estimate what can happen in 10 years and work towards that goal. Because you knew that becoming a superintendent, it was going to take you a couple of steps. You have to be a principal assistant, and then you have to be a principal and gain the experience, and maybe become a director before you can step into the position that you're at. So I love your story, and I hope our beautiful audience are paying attention that sometimes like we choose to live in the pain because we want to do everything in 1 year. And it's like you mentioned, is like it took you personal growth.
Mm-hmm.
Like how many of us need that to go to the next level? It's like growth before we can achieve the dream job like you're talking about. Thank you so much
Absolutely.
for sharing, because I see a lot of pain in the world, and it's because they only see from here to here. Oh, I'm not there yet, and I'm not there yet. But if you move your hand a little bit and then begin to see the view from a decade, like 10 years from now, then you can begin to truly plan your life that way, as you mentioned, gaining that personal growth that we all need.
Right. I think it's definitely a journey. And missing any of the steps would make what you are today not what it's supposed to be. I think that it takes time, it takes experiences, it takes failing forward. I'm a big quote person. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough, or you're not never in the land of done.
Yeah.
I'm very goal oriented, but I realized that goals take tiny steps to accomplish. And there are many days that I felt like a failure, and there are many things that I tried that I wasn't chosen for. And then I just got back and worked harder and learned more until the time worked out for me. And it just took time, and I think it worked out how it was supposed to.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. And here we go again. It's like we're all have new challenges in life. We fail, we learn, we get up, and we continue to go. If we want to achieve that 10-year goal, that dream job. So, what has been your biggest challenge in this first year as a superintendent?
Um, Biggest challenge this year: not enough hours in the day. That has definitely been the biggest challenge. Um, I I go to work 7 days a week. I go to work almost every Saturday morning and every Sunday morning before church. That's self-imposed. No one tells me that I have to do that, but it's a time when the building is not full of people, and that it's quiet, and that I have time to sit back and reflect on the rest of the week and plan for the week forward. Um, and when I leave here, it's email and text message and calls all evening, sometimes into the middle of the night. It's truly a 365-day, 24-hour job, period. And I knew that. I mean, in my head, I knew that that's the kind of commitment it took. But I didn't realize maybe that even being that committed to that much time, that it still wasn't enough time. Um, because there's just not enough time. There's not enough time to do everything that I want to do. There are, in a district this size, there are so many activities every day, and I want to be able to be in, your classroom if you invite, but someone at an elementary school might invite at the same time. Especially right now, that's happening a lot. I've had to say no to a lot of people, and I've tried really hard to reach out and say, invite me, and I'll be there. And then there's so many activities at the end of the year that I can't do all of them. And so I don't like disappointing people. And so I want to be at every place all the time. And that's just not possible. So biggest challenge is definitely that there's that time is an issue.
Wow. And if time is an issue, I mean that you are really enjoying and you want to accomplish as much as you can, right?
Yes, it's important. I mean,
Yes.
it's important to me that teachers here, that students here, that families here know that it's important to me, and that I'm going to work as hard as I can to make this the best experience for them possible. I am a very goal-oriented, driven, competitive person. And so if I'm going to do anything, I want to do it very well. And that that just takes a commitment that I'm absolutely willing to give, and I have been giving. It's just surprising how many more hours in the day that I could use if I had them.
Yeah. So okay, so now tell us how do you combine, and I know this is your first year and I'm pretty sure your family understands, but before you step into this dream job, how did you manage marriage, your children, and your profession?
Um, probably by slowing down the progression of getting to where I am. I am a mom and a wife first, and I have always approached it like that. I have always interviewed for jobs like that. Anyone I've ever talked to, I'd say, if I can't put my own family first, why would you trust me to put someone else's children in the right spot? So I think I had to really practice what I preach and model what I expect, because I needed to be a good mother if I was asking other people to do that and bring their students here. So I had to just make that choice. I have always tried to not physically work at home. So like as a teacher, I didn't bring papers at home to grade, although I had younger kids, but you know what I mean? I try to do that work at work. Now you can't ever get away from work now because of cell phones, and little baby computers in your hand all the time. So I have that all the time. But if I'm going to work on writing an article, or if I'm going to work on a report that's due for the State Department, I do that at work. So that when I'm at home other than the device that's in my hand 24 hours a day. I did that since the boys were little. And I have two sons, and they are 22 and almost 22 and 24. So they're grown now, and not in our home. I've been married for 25 years to my husband, and he was a coach, a high school coach for a lot of that career. So he was gone a lot. And I picked up the slack for him to do what he needed to do in his career. And now we've kind of traded places. He's kind of slowed down with what he's doing in the evening. And so I really have been very blessed this year by him, because I know he has dinner ready when I'm at home, and he takes care of all the things at the house. All the things that I don't have time for right now, he has really filled that gap. So I think it's just prioritizing and giving yourself permission to put first things first. And this job is super important to me, and I hope that you and everybody can tell that. But the most important thing to me is God and my family. Because God first, because that's why I have my great family and why I have this great job. I truly believe that. But I think you have to put those things in order, because if you don't, it just tends to not work. So it's best just to take the time that you need to, so that you know and hear that you're doing the right thing.
Thank you for sharing that. Because I mean, there is a lot of moms out there that are juggling, like the marriage, the kids, the professional life, and you want to do it all. Like I want to do it all. It's like I do. And like you said, you enjoy your time with your boys, and you nurture that marriage, because look at 25 years of marriage, and then now he's the one that's supporting you as you're living your dream in this beautiful career of yours. And you also have time to inspire your team. Like we get those weekly emails and we learn from it. Like my biggest one that I've like, it rumbles in my head is like, okay, I think you went to a leadership training, and then you came back and you share a phrase that says that something to the effect that we are inspiring people to become people, like we are inspiring them now, like
humans or something like that.
Yes, I was like, it is true, because we never know, what our students or our coworkers might be dealing with. But if they see you with a smile, if they see you see your behavior, that you're more likely to inspire them to, lift them up. So with simply with your attitude, I think.
Yes, and we saw that at a conference just recently, and that was really it was so eye-opening that every day, we're helping grow other humans. We're teaching people to be and it hit us all like, wow, what a big responsibility that we have. And that was a neat moment in that. It was a COSA Women's Leadership Conference, and there was a room filled of, about 450 administrators from Oklahoma and Arkansas, all female. And it was just great to kind of lift each other up in this profession that we've talked about that is very male dominated. Not so much in our district. It's very female dominated in our district.
Yeah.
And that wasn't purposeful. It just ended up with that was the best. Those were the best people for the job. But it's been good. It's been really good.
And you have a great team. You guys do an awesome job. Yeah. Uh, so what are the priorities for the district for the next, 2 to 5 years? Where do you see this district going?
Well, I think we're really working on some long-term planning. I think you have to begin with the end in mind. And so I want to sit down with each of our directors of all of our different departments and say, where do we want to be in 10 years? I would love to do this job for 10 years. I can retire in 7 now, but I would like to have been here at least 10 years whenever I do retire. And I want to know what we want the district to look like in 10 years. What do we want it to look like facility wise? I mean, what do we need to change? What are our dreams? Something, I want us to dream big. I want us to put all that out and say, in a perfect world, what would this look like? And then figure out backwards what we can do to make that happen. So I think we would have to do that with our facility planning. I think we'd have to do that with our technology planning. I think we need to do that like with our particular programs, say like our athletic program. One thing I think that would be like a dream here is to have our own high school football field. So what do we have to do from here to there to make that happen? And then chunk it backwards, because, that's how you make those goals, by chunking them up a little piece at a time. I think we have to look at that with our finance piece. We have to look at that with our academics and all the curriculum that we have, because why we're here is to help educate. I mean, our primary purpose is to educate students so that they have a better life one day. So what are we doing in that instance? I mean, what are we looking at? What are we offering students? So it's taking all of those pieces and putting them down, not just thinking about it, but planning about it, and maybe being time specific. I read something the other day that said something like it. I'm going to misquote it, but if you don't have if it's not time specific, it's not a goal. If it's just a dream. So like having a real goal, like this is what we want to accomplish in this time. I want to involve the public in that, because a lot of the things that we will want to do require big amounts of money that probably will require bonding capacity, for our citizens in this city to vote for. So getting all the people at the table that need to be at the table and say, what do you want Tahlequah Public Schools to look like? It's not just us. I mean, that's all our patrons. It's the community people here. It's the real estate people. It's the business owners. It's the political figures. It's all of those people make up our town. So what do they want Tahlequah Public Schools to look like? And then just making a plan all together. I would love to, big projects that I know that we need to accomplish in the next in the next 10 years, dream football field. Our kids deserve nice facilities that belong to us. The old Central building has been sitting for, God, I don't know, 15, 20 years. It's a beautiful building that could be made into something very special for our district. And so I would like to remodel that facility and use it for good. I see it being administrative offices with a big upstairs auditorium where you can host community meetings and you can have your board meetings and kids can come perform. You already have Alta High School off of that, and we have a child daycare center in there, expanding that child care daycare center where it not only has a place for our high school students who have children, but maybe our employee students or babies that need a place to go. So they're close to their families. I know we're going to need additional space at Heritage because we're going to run out of room before long. I know that we would love to have a 9th grade center where our kids that are just coming to high school can be all in one particular place, and we can get them accustomed and aligned to high school life before we throw them in with the other 1,000 kids in the high school building. So, we've got tons of dreams that we've talked about, and it's just so that will be the focus of the next few years, is just figuring out what we have to do to get those things all accomplished.
That's beautiful. And like coming from a different country, like I was born, grew up in Mexico for like 19 years before I came to the United States. seeing how much you guys care for education, it's amazing. Like you mentioned the alternative school. You guys have a daycare for those teens that have babies, during that age. You all provide so much service. Like you care about the was a percentage of the high school students that are going to graduate, because if they graduate, then they'll have a brighter future ahead. So it's like there is a beautiful, like for our beautiful viewers that are not from the United States, it's like here is like you can see a little bit of what it could be like everywhere else, because they do care. They really do care. And you can see, like, I appreciate it because I come from a different country that they don't have the school system, as far as I know. I haven't been back home for a couple of years, but as far as I know, they don't have this system for students to succeed. And that's what you guys, that's the end goal, that you want those babies to graduate and have a brighter future. So you guys do, like, an amazing job, because there's countries that don't have the privilege that it's here.
It is a privilege. And, I think that education is power. And education, we live in, we're very fortunate, I know, as Americans and where we live. But even within our town, we have many students that have very hard lives. Very many of our low income families, and they don't have some of the things that a lot of us do. And the one thing that evens the score for anybody is getting an education. That way they can use that to do whatever it is they want to do in life. It's not always about going to college. It could be going to trade school. It can be going to just work a job. They don't even have to further their education, but I want them all to have the choice. I want them to be able to have all the pieces that they need so that they can do whatever they want to be a productive human once they get out of school. It's a choice, but we want to make sure that they have that choice, and education is that choice, I think. Yeah. So I think that's what we work to do every day.
Yeah. I mean, like when I begin to fall in love with books, I'm like, oh, now I understand why there's so many, free libraries out there, because those who understood the power of education, they're like, okay, I have to give and make sure that they wanted to pave the way for those who had no clue. So yes, I believe that education is power, especially when you know that you have the choice. So, oh, this is so good. Thank you. Oh, what has been the most rewarding experience that you had this last year as the superintendent?
I don't know if it's been one particular thing, but it's been the feeling when I go, like when I go to a building and I watch something, or I go into a classroom and or I see something that our kids and our teachers are doing, and a big concert, robotics, and I get to look out and realize that I'm the leader of this. I can't tell you the number of times it's literally brought me like tears to my eyes, because I'm just so proud of all the things that I see that go on here. And I'm just humbled that I get to do this. I'm like, how do I get to do this? And really, there have been bad days, don't get me wrong, but there's not been a day ever that I don't want to come to work, that I'm not excited to be here. Now, there are days that I want to go home because they've not been good.
Yeah.
But I think attitude's a choice. And so, you wake up every day and you start over and you find the good in anything. But so I don't know if it's one particular thing, but it's been more just that knowing that this is what I get to do every day. And I know a lot of people don't feel like that about what they do, and because they can't, or they just choose not to, I don't know. But I know that I'm just literally humbled when I think I get to be in charge of all of this. I get to be the leader of this. And that's definitely been the best So it's almost every day. So there's something every day that makes me feel like that. But just to know I've been chosen and given this responsibility is mind blowing every day.
That's beautiful. And, it takes a village. Like you're saying, let's recognize our beautiful teachers, the football team, soccer team, those coaches, robotics, beautiful teachers that commit to guide their students, to make them better, to challenge them. Help me name other teams. Just, it's teach in Oklahoma. It's appreciation teacher of the week. Did I say it right? My English, by me.
Teacher Appreciation Week next week. Yes.
Yes, so Tahlequah already started this week, and I know in Mexico we celebrated May 15th. So this month is for education. So we're gonna invite different teachers for the show so that we can get inspired and they can tell us what they do. So let's recognize a few. I know it's like we have robotics coach, a soccer team, uh,
uh, baseball, basketball, football, soccer, track, wrestling, volleyball, cross country, softball, fast pitch, tennis, robotics, uh, ROTC students, our ag students and our ag program. We have our gifted and talented, our business professionals fax class, our Cherokee culture class that does things. We have student council. Goodness gracious, Paola, there are a million
golf.
things.
Yes, golf just made it
Golf,
to state. That's what I heard.
Cheer, Palm.
Art.
Cheer was the academic state champion of the year. I think there were like 29. I just answered this for something.
Yes.
29 different sports, but then you have all the clubs outside of that because kids might not be athletic. That's okay, but we have like esports. Our esports team has won like 2 state competitions in the last couple weeks, and that's a whole new world to people, the esports. But those kids are geniuses half the time, and a lot of them are going to scholarship, going to play on college teams. One of them is going to go play on OU's esports team, a huge, D1 college. So just a little bit of everything, and then that's just high school level. You've got a little bit at middle school, but you have anywhere from pre-K through 12th grade students. You have science teachers, social studies teachers, health teachers. I'm married to a health teacher and a coach. First, second, pre-K, you have assistants. You have special education teachers that work with our special needs students every day, and paraprofessionals that help those students get through their day and be successful. You have office managers that always have taken the best care of me, and no matter what job I've ever had. And they had a special day last week, Administrative Professionals Day. We have custodians that take care of us, and operations and grounds people that work here. We have bus drivers, and that's got to be one of the hardest jobs in a school, is being a bus driver. It's like having 70 kids in a rolling classroom. Child nutrition workers that help us. We have finance people, and it's just about, I think the last count, there were 526 employees. Because we also have after school workers, because we have an after school program in every one of our buildings. So many humans to be celebrated here in the next week or so, and every day.
And here's another blessing that this district has: you don't pay for aftercare. I have a friend in Texas, and it's like, oh, I have to pick up my kids. They're like, what? From where? Oh, they stay for Boys and Girls Club. What's that? Oh, we don't have that here. So we have a lot of blessings in this small district, and it takes a village.
Absolutely, we really do. I mean, we are very fortunate. We have police officers in every one of our buildings. We have nurses in every one of our school buildings. We have counselors in every one of our school buildings, assistant principals. We have so many, librarians at all of our sites, and PE coaches and music teachers, and they do great music. That's something we forgot about: choir, music, show. We got a big show going on tonight. We're like productions. We have so many resources, and most of them are because of competitive grants. We do a lot of grant writing, and we have been good stewards of the money that's been given to us from different federal agencies, and so they continue to give it to us, and we get to do all these great things for our students and our teachers.
Yeah. What message would you like to share to your team since it's, Education Month?
Well, I'll talk directly to my immediate team first. I have been so fortunate to surround myself with people that I've known for years, right here at the district level with me in this building. Lacey Davenport or Lacey Wilson was when I was first a principal, she was my assistant principal. And then she went on and grew her into a principal, and she left and Carr Ridenauer came and he was my assistant principal. And then I went somewhere different and he grew into a principal. Nikki Malloy, principal here when we moved into family and community engagement. Deanne Mashburn, who when I was first assistant principal at Central, then she followed me into that job and she went to the middle school and I went to Cherokee when that all changed. And just we have the strongest team up here that I love dearly and I trust with my life. And we all have the same goal in mind here, and that's to take care of everybody that is our work family, because I really feel like that's what they are. They really are a work family. We are so blessed. I have been around the United States in schools as a principal, and I know without a shadow of the doubt that we have some of the very best teachers that have ever been born in Tahlequah Public Schools. They come to work every day. They love their students. They work hard. They're coachable. And they have just all worked together to create a great culture. The principals at each of the building are fantastic. They have the right heart. They work hard. They expect a lot. They have high expectations of everyone, of students and staff, but they do that because they know that's what's best for kids. And I think it all goes back to that. I mean, even if it's someone that's outside mowing the grass, they're making sure that the buildings are safe and look good for our kids because they know they deserve a place to go that they're proud of. And they're just as proud of what they do here for us and just as important as any other team member, whether they're feeding our kids or they're cleaning up after our kids or they're teaching our kids the highest math skills possible. It takes every one of us to make it possible. I mean, any one of those things go away and something doesn't go right. So it's a balance that we've created that works, and just super fortunate and super blessed with the people that choose to work here every day because it is a choice. I mean, it is. I am fully aware that for every teacher that we have, that they could go someplace else and get another job right now, and they choose to be at Tahlequah Public Schools. And I hope to always make it a place where they want to continue to choose that.
How can teachers help with your vision? What do you expect out of us?
I think communicate what they want and what they see as well. I've tried to be very communication was definitely one of my biggest goals this year, with families, with the community, with our staff. And you mentioned like the weekly email. That's something that I've tried to just put out because I want people that when we make decisions, I want them to know why we're making decisions. Or if we have to say no with something because of finances, this is why we're doing that. I think they deserve to know. And then most people, when they know, when they have an explanation, they're very agreeable and they understand why we have to make that. But I want to know what they really think. I want to know what they think about the culture, what they think about the leaders, what they would like to see here, what they see as good for their area, because you're a science teacher by day. I don't know high school science, but the science teachers do. I don't know second grade curriculum like I used to as a second grade teacher. What do our second grade teachers think we need to make second grade best for our students so that they learn the most and the best that they possibly can? So more than anything else, I think communication and engagement, be willing just to step out there, talk about what they want. Constructive criticism is good. Not everything's always perfect, but I think you can say things that need to be fixed in a positive way. I want them to publicly build up our profession and build up our school. I think sometimes, and I don't see it so much here. I honestly don't, but I know other educators that talk down our profession, and we shouldn't. We should be the most proud of our profession and the most proud of where we work and what we do. Um, I think there's an issue with respect for teachers and educators in general right now, and we don't help that when we buy into the negativity that is out there. I think we have to be positive, and I think we have to show all the good things that we do. And I've really tried to tell our story this year, because I think if you don't tell your story, someone will. So I'd really want to be the person that's telling the good story instead of someone who has something negative to say when we know all the good things that are going on. So I just think communicate, tell us what you really want. You know, when I ask for feedback, I really mean it. I mean, be real with me and just help me build up our profession.
Beautiful. What about parents? What do you expect us, parents to, how do you want us to contribute to this vision?
Very close to the same as that. I think whether the conversation at a meeting earlier today about high school parents, it doesn't matter if your child is 4 and in pre-K or your child's 17 and a senior. I want you to be engaged in your child's learning. I want you to know your child, your student's teacher. I think you should pay attention to what they're doing here, how they're doing in school. I want them to be, come to events and to see what's happening and help us spread the good story of what happens at Tahlequah Public School and what's happening for their child. Um, my youngest son is still in college, but he is still a kid. 22-year-old men are not adults yet. I don't think it's not fully formed yet. So just because they look grown does not mean that they are grown. So I think sometimes at the high school level, parents they're tired, they're overworked. I get it. I've been there, but I think that they need us just as much as those 5-year-olds do. It's just a different kind of need. It's probably more of an emotional and guidance in here than it is how to work the microwave or how to be safe by myself. But that doesn't mean that they don't still need us and they don't need us to be involved. So I always had a very open door policy as a teacher or as a principal. And of course, we want to do that as safe. We want to do that now. We want to be safe because we have to be safe in today's world. But just be involved. Give us honest feedback. Tell the good stories. And if there's something that's not a good thing, let us know so we can fix it, because we can't fix something if we don't know it's broken.
Yes. Yeah, our brain doesn't develop female till 25, male till 28. So as a science teacher at the high school, forgiveness has been my new style of living.
I bet.
It's like forgive them, guide them, because their brain has not fully developed yet. So for any of, I'm a parent of a 17-year-old, so I understand, what you're trying to tell us. They still need the support. They still need the guidance. They still need our acceptance. There is such a need for, like, let me know where I belong. Let me know that, I'm okay, just the way I am. And yeah.
It would be so hard to be a teenager in today's society. And I think they need us more now than they ever have, just to guide them through what they see out in the world and through social media and the way the world portrays what's good or beautiful or successful. And there's not one true definition of any of those things. It's a million different things, but it's very easy for a child that age to feel inadequate, and we need to build them up. And we should be our children's biggest cheerleaders, and then the teachers should be the children's second best cheerleaders. And sometimes they don't have that first. They don't have the parents that are capable or just not there to be able to do that. So that puts teachers in even a bigger role right there to be the cheerleader that they need, that they don't have someplace else maybe.
Yes, and next Tuesday we're gonna have Miss Cloud. She's a principal of Talca Public School. So we'll be talking more about the high school age. If you have a son or a daughter and would like to join us, please join us because we'll be talking more about what our students need right now. Just different, things. The world is always changing,
It is.
so we have to learn to adapt and teach them to adapt based on our values. So you think that always based on our core values. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, what is your biggest advice to a new leader, someone that's stepping in, next year to a superintendent position? What would you tell
Hold on. It's a
them?
wild, crazy ride. No, I would tell them it's worth it. I would say it's worth the long days and the hard days. I would tell them to give themselves the grace that they give others because we all make mistakes every day. And that we just need to learn from those. I mean, mistakes are learning experiences. As long as you're learning from them, you're okay. Um, I think that it would be important to have a very strong network of people that you can talk to, that you within your district and without your district. Because sometimes you just need to be able to talk about something that you can't go through all the specifics, but you just need to get it off your chest and have someone else that feels like you feel. Um, and so that's very important. I mean, that networking piece is really, really important as a leader for you personally, but for you professionally as well, because, we learn something new from other districts every day. And that's what educators do. We go and we borrow from one another all the good things that we see. We don't, so we don't reinvent the wheel every time. So, I think grace, take good care of yourself. I've said that I work 365 days a year. I mean, and that's it takes a physical toll on you. So I've had to try to slow down a little bit and think, okay, I need to try and eat right. I need to drink water. I need to throw some exercise in here just for, physically, but mentally as well. Um, don't skip church. I leave here and go to church. If you're a
Yeah.
church going person,
Yes.
don't give that up. I mean, that's an hour or whatever you need on whenever you go. So keep those things that speak to you, that help build you up. The whole thing about, like, if a plane's going down, you can't help someone if you don't have the
Uh,
oxygen mask on yourself. Remember that, because it's very easy to forget that and just run, 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 run until you hit a brick wall, and then it's hard to get back up. So just take care of yourself and
Thank
surround
you
yourself
so
with
much.
people you love.
Yes, yes, I love that. Uh, you, thank you so much for being here. What is your final message that you would like to share to our parents and students in this district?
More than anything, thank you. I mean, thank you for trusting me to be your leader. Thank you for loving me and accepting me the way that you have, this year. I have been just showered with good things. And I am a words of affirmation person. So that really speaks to my heart. And, I'm humbled and thankful, that I get to do this every day. And I just want them to know I love it. And I hope to do it for a long time. And that I have an open door and I'm always willing to listen and to discuss whatever someone, I'm here for people. Um, whether it's just to listen or try and solve a problem. And that, I think that would go for all the people that work here as well as all the families, is that, I'm very approachable, I think, and I'm here for them. That's my job. I'm here for you as a teacher. I'm here for you as a parent, and I'm here for students. That's why I'm here.
Well, thank you for being a servant leader. You're being the example for a lot of us. And I appreciate, I'm feeling very honored that you say yes to this interview. Something new probably for both of us.
Yes.
Uh, so I'm very grateful. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.
All right.
For all of our beautiful viewers, you can watch this replay on my YouTube channel, Paola Guthrie. This show can also be heard in Spanglish on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all news and programming. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. Blessings to you all, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.